I think a lot of us was kind of upset with how it went down and the lack of protection that we did have from the university. But here nor there, they would never forget those times that those teams were at Michigan. They're not going to forget Robert Traylor being at Michigan. They're not going to forget Chris Webber, Jalen. Who cares? I mean, if a banner is up, if they put our stats back in the record books, who cares? People know when you name Michigan, they're going to name our names because we were hoopers.
We have a very special guest on the show with us today. He's a 10-year NBA veteran, drafted 14th overall to the Los Angeles Clippers back in 1997. He's a former Big Ten Freshman of the Year out of the University of Michigan. Please welcome Maurice Taylor to the Fumble.
Yeah, big dog.
Thank you for coming on with us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, listen, I got to give you one more compliment. So if anybody back in the day played NBA 2K and you played with the Houston Rockets, Mo Taylor was a guy that won you games, right? You had the dunk icon, you had the block shot icon. Like, I played with the Rockets because of I was a cheat code, but then the Mo Taylor athleticism on 2K used to be crazy. The Mo Taylor Stevie franchise, Samaria, I don't think he was there for that, but this is big for me. This was my guy. He won me some money back in the day, or at least some now-laters.
I played with the Rockets too. Y'all was a cheat code.
Bro, but you were the cheat code too. It was like, it's just one of those things. Like, some guys, their skill set just translates incredibly. I mean, you were a phenomenal player, but their skill set translates incredibly to the sports video game world. And you were one of those guys, man. You, Eddie Griffin. There's some people out, you were just like, in the video game context, it was phenomenal. But when you first saw yourself in a video game, did you make any adjustments to any of your attributes, or did you just rock out with your standard issue Mo Taylor?
I think the first time I saw myself in a video game was in college when they came out with Coach K. And the University of Michigan was one of the teams. And, it wasn't like it is now where they have NIL deals and they can use your actual name and likeness. It was actually just a guy with number 23 on. But I knew it was me because that was my jersey number. But, I tweaked all my attributes. I was a 99 in everything. I'm not going to shortchange myself.
I know that you didn't play basketball a lot growing up. You said that you love football. Like, what changed? Like, where did the change happen?
I mean, I think, as you're a new resident of Michigan, and you kind of experienced that cold weather. I kind of found out early that I was built for, an indoor sport. But no, I love football. It's my first love. When I stopped playing, it's a crazy story. My freshman year, I was like 6 feet, 6'1". My second year, my sophomore year, I was about 6'6" when I came back to school. So being a 6'6" target on a football field isn't as fun as it is being somebody that's targeting. So, I found out early, like, I wasn't built to play. Just like people say the Oklahoma drill turned more football players into basketball players, and that's me. Football turned me into a basketball player.
That's some of my favorite content on the internet, when they have the parents and the kids matched up in the Oklahoma drill. Have you seen these videos where the moms be trying to tackle the kid? Yo, I love.
That's fun, but when it's a 270-pound dude going with you, it's not as fun as it is with your mom and dad. So
we've been having this debate for probably well over a calendar year now. Then, and I guess you're somebody that can speak to it. Which sport is harder to transition into? Is it a football player transitioning into basketball, or a basketball player trying to transition into football?
I mean, me personally, I think it's a football player trying to transition into basketball, but it depends on the position. Like wide receivers, cornerbacks, running backs, safeties, the skill positions, those guys can pretty much play any sport. But if you look at a basketball player, like a 6'8", 240, 250-pound guy, if you look at a LeBron James, he could play any position he wanted to in football and walk on a football field and be successful right now. See, I think that's kind of the difference, is that basketball players are kind of more bred for agility and speed, and that translates a little more than just sheer power and mass like football players. That's just my opinion. I'm not a scientist. I'm not, I didn't do any research on it, but in my experience and what I've seen, basketball players tend to transition to other sports a lot quicker than other athletes.
Got you. I'm from Jersey. I'm a big hoop fan. I know there's some states out there that can claim the title, the crown, if you will, as the best basketball state or city. We got Chicago, LA, North Carolina calls themselves the hoop state. Atlanta's been a hotbed recently, but Detroit is special in and of itself in the way that they play the game of basketball. What does it mean to be a hooper from Detroit, and where do you rank you guys in the hierarchy of basketball supremacy?
I mean, I think that, being from Detroit, especially when I was coming up, it was special. It was a special time. I was able to kind of really grow and grow to love the game and be mentored by giants in the industry, in the city of Detroit, who were from Detroit, who were born and raised there, who went to the same high schools and walked the same streets and caught the same public buses as I did. And I think that's what really, kind of focused me to do that. Because when I saw Jalen Rose and, well, first and foremost, when I saw Derek Coleman, who was like, my big brother from the time I could dribble a ball. When I saw Derek Coleman, Chris Webber, Jalen Rose, guys who are from my hood, waking up on Saturday mornings watching, Michigan play in black shoes and black socks and black baggy shorts, but more so seeing the representation of guys that look like me, that was from my hood, that let me know that I can do that. That let me know, like, Jalen Rose is from the west side of Detroit. We all grew up playing in the same rec. Howard Isley is west side of Detroit, Voshawn Leonard, Derek Coleman, east side, Glenn Rice from Michigan. These are guys that I grew up watching that allowed me to believe in myself. Because when you're a young black male coming up in the inner city of Detroit, there's not many opportunities that mirror your circumstances. And I think looking at those guys come before me, it was a prime example. Oh, no, I don't have an excuse. Because those guys are just like me. They look like me. They dress like me. They have the same vernacular as me. They have the same swag as I want to have. I want to be those guys. And I think that was the first time that I really wanted to, I thought I could do it. Because I saw those guys do it before me. And people don't know how huge that is, seeing representation at each level that you want to be successful in, whether it's college, whether it's the pros. When you can look up and see people look like you from where you are doing the things that you dream of doing, man, it's tremendous. And I think Detroit gave me that. And as far as where we rank, Detroit, St. Cecilia, we've been on the map a long time. People know.
Detroit or Chicago? You taking Detroit or Chicago? What you doing? The D or the Chi?
Come on, man. Come on, that ain't even a question. Detroit. It's not even close.
Not close is crazy, but I hear you though.
It's not close. It's not close. We had a guy in the draft. We had a stretch where we had a guy in the NBA draft from 86, 88 through 2000, and I think Willie Green came out in 2005. Every year we had someone that was born and bred in Detroit in the draft, getting drafted to the NBA. And that's an honor. That's a representation of, our city, our grind. Yeah, I know Chicago has a grind. It's similar, but Detroit is a special place to me.
You just named a lot of talented people. If you had to do a Mount Rushmore, the top four, let's just do basketball, because you just named so many. Could you do it?
From Detroit?
From Detroit.
Oh, yeah, you could do it. Steve Smith, Derek Coleman, Jalen Rose, and I would probably have to put, obviously, George Gervin.
Damn, George Gervin from Detroit? That's a good one. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Iceman from Detroit, Eastern Michigan, Martin Luther King High School. Now, these are guys that are from those schools. They're from Detroit. They're not, they didn't go to a private school outside the city. They didn't transfer out to a prep school. These are dudes that were in the city.
So you went to the University of Michigan, and culturally, very few universities have had the kind of impact that Michigan has had. I put UNLV in that category, and Georgetown as well, under Big John. Just legendary programs that changed the way that we received and understood what culture looked like on a collegiate basketball court. what was the experience like going to the University of Michigan? And then in the fallout of everything that happened, you know, all the scandal and everything, you had already been to the NBA at that point. Did you feel a loss of pride or any level of shame about anything that took place from that experience?
I think, well, to answer the first part of your question is, like, Michigan influenced me a lot. But I think
Same.
to answer correctly from our standpoint, and this is as it relates to the scandal and everything that kind of transpired out of that, we were transitional for Michigan. Like, Michigan has always been known as a football school. It has always been known as, you know, the leaders and best. It had always been known as being one of the top universities in the country. I think seeing inner city kids and inner city boys come from Detroit and come to Michigan and transform the culture of that school, put them on a path that they wouldn't have been on regardless of anything else. Yeah, I think Michigan had already won a national championship in '89. Didn't nobody care. More people cared about the 5-5s, 2 losses in national championship games than they cared about Michigan's win in '89. You know, it was the culture. It was the sense of pride that we had from where we came from. And I think we poured that into the University of Michigan. And I think culturally they benefited from that tremendously. Like my freshman year, that was the first year we got a 360 Nike deal. People don't realize the Fab Five didn't have a Nike deal. They were wearing champion uniforms and went and bought those Nikes. My freshman year, we had a 360 Nike deal that was $190 million. Like, thank you, Fab Five. You know, thank you. You know, so when we talk about, you know, scandal and everything that came about that, I mean, the basis was that we had a guy in the city that took care of every hooper that had an aspiration to go to college. If you needed a winter coat, he was going to make sure you had a coat. If you walking out in the snow and you got holes in your shoes, you know, like I was, he going to make sure he put you in some Timbs to be able to walk in that snow and get to school. So I think for what we did for the university versus kind of the way the whole situation panned out, I don't think we were respected in the way that we should have been for what we did, you know, to the university, for the university. And, you know, here nor there, if you look at it now, you know, everybody's getting paid. You know, they were arguing at the fact that we were getting, you know, people were dropping groceries off at our apartments, you know, when we needed, and, you know, being able to, you know, go to movies. I remember going to Foot Locker when I was a freshman, Briarwood Mall. I remember the first day the Michigan Fits came out. They had it on the mannequin, number 23. Didn't have my name on it, but I knew it was me. $86 jersey. I couldn't afford it. Now, for a young kid that's just really being introduced to the world and being put in this environment at the University of Michigan that you've never been in before, and finally really having the idea of capitalism and having the idea of self-worth and having the idea of the worth that you put into your craft, once you start opening yourself up to all that, you start asking questions. Like, why can't I afford a jersey that y'all are selling with my likeness? Like you said, we were in the NBA when all this already popped off. I think a lot of us was kind of upset with how it went down and the lack of protection that we did have from the university. But, you know, here nor there, they would never forget, you know, those times that those teams were at Michigan. They're not going to forget Robert Traylor being at Michigan. They're not going to forget Chris Webber, Jalen. Who cares? I mean, if a banner is up, if they put our stats back in the record books, who cares? People know when you name Michigan, they're going to name our names because we were hoopers.
They haven't reinstated your stats and wins yet? That hasn't taken place?
They haven't. We haven't had anything reinstated. Nah.
That, man, I find that to be really, really surprising. For some reason, I thought that had already been done. I guess on the heels of like Reggie Bush and, you know, other players who have had their success reinstated in the collegiate record books. That's unfortunate.
I think the difference is, and I mean, I hate to beat a dead horse, but I think that Michigan and how they view themselves are not going to go back on anything. You know, they're the type of institution to where for, you know, hundreds of years it's been etched in stone who they are and how they go about their business. I mean, I love Michigan. I mean, it opened me up socially coming from the inner city of Detroit Henry Ford High School. You know, my first lecture hall class is 120 kids in there. And it was probably 30 that looked like me. So socially, it helped me in that aspect because I had to grow up. You know, I had to learn how to interact and have discussions in a lot of different rooms that I had never been in before. And it prepared me for what I ultimately wanted to do, which was be a professional. But at the same time, I mean, I think it was disheartening with the way things went down and currently how things are still being, you know, kind of drug out.
I would be a fool if we ain't talk some hoops. So right now we got a freak of nature in Victor Wembanyama. He's going insane.
Yeah.
He took a L last night to the Lakers. You played with another gargantuan human being in Yao Ming.
Mm-hmm.
If the two were to match up, how do you think Yao would fare against Wemby and his expansive skill set, and how would Vic match up with Yao and his just expansiveness and mass?
I mean, I think it's hard to like put those two together. For one, you know, we haven't seen a player like Wemby, you know, come along in the league. We just he's an anomaly. It's certain guys that's coming to this league to where you don't have answers to the questions that's being asked of them because you've never seen it before. Michael Jordan, LeBron, you know, Steph. These are guys that came along, you know, Giannis, that's come along like, man, I haven't seen this and I really don't know how to combat this. But I think with Wemby's skill set, it's so hard for centers to guard him. Like Yao will have a problem guarding him on the offensive end on the perimeter because his fluid movements. He moves like a guard. He's graceful. He runs. He has the ability to shoot the ball from deep. But on another hand, that boy wouldn't have a chance against Yao.
Not at all?
Cancel Christmas. Not at all. No. Wemby's playing 7'6" in a league full of, you know, forwards playing center and this, that, and the other. Yao is 7'5", 7'6" too. And when
going against
Yao is a redwood tree. When he plants down there, like nobody's moving him. And his skill set was tremendous. His will to work, his work ethic was incredible. His humility was, Yao is probably the best person that I have ever played with, period. Just as a human being, before we start talking about how talented he is as a person, he was A1. I remember when he first got to the team and really couldn't speak English. Used to sit up, like all the guys, we get on the road, we get to LA, everybody wants to go out and hang out. I'll call Yao, like, Yao, what you doing? Oh, I'm hanging out. He's like, you want to come hang out with me? I'm like, yeah, I'll come hang out with Yao. I'm thinking we're going to go somewhere. It's a funny story. I get to his room and we play, I don't know what type of game we were playing on the computer. It was a lot going on. It was wizards and dragons, and it was one of those games where it's just a lot going on. And he ordered the most chicken wings I've ever seen a single person order. And we set up and ate chicken wings, and we kind of started doing that on the road. When everybody would go out, I knew Yao wasn't going to go out. So I was like, okay, I don't want to leave him by himself. I'm going to hang out with Yao. And we became really good friends because of that. And as he started coming out of his shell, he started, speaking the language, better. He started coming out of his shell, gaining more confidence. But again, he's probably, he's one of the best people that I've ever been around and ever met in my life. And Wemby couldn't do nothing with him, guarding him. No.
Even okay. On the help side, though, he might get him on the help side.
Nah, he ain't enough help in the world. Trust me, you saw how he was doing Shaq, and that was Shaq.
That was Shaq.
Yeah, what do you think about the Houston Rockets right now? We know they got KD this offseason. I feel like they're missing a piece. Who do you feel like they need to get to really just bring everything together? I think
one, they need a point guard. I think Fred getting hurt them tremendously. I think they had everything. All the cards had a line, with getting KD and with the young players that they were able to retain even after trading Jalen Green away. I think Fred getting hurt kind of set them back because right now they look good, but against better teams, they're going to have better point guard play. And I think that's where they're struggling right now. As far as KD, I love the addition. I mean, because KD is like one of those guys. When he's old, he's done. Like, how's he done? Last year, he averaged more than he averaged the year before. Like, guys like that are never done. Like, KD is he's an absolute savage when it comes to this game. So I think having a guy like that, young fella, Sagoon is do well. Amin is gonna do well. They have a lot of young talent that they're going to be able to play, substantial minutes in some pretty big games. But I think having a closer like KD helps anybody, because if you're a team, and just like the Rockets have been, they had a pretty good year last year. They're kind of right there on the cusp. When you can get a closer like somebody like KD that can go on a run for 5, 6, 7 games where he's the absolute best player in the league and you can ride that, I think that's huge. So I look for them to be a top 4 team, in the West.
Really?
I think they can probably, if you look at, Golden State's going to be pretty good. San Antonio's going to be good. OKC is going to be amazing. But I think that 4 or 5 space, I think with the addition of KD and what he's going to be able to do this year, I think they'd be able to slide in somewhere right there.
I think they're looking like 6 or 7 because the Lakers are playing surprisingly well. And you didn't even mention Denver yet. Not having a point guard or a setup man to get KD the ball in his spots, while Amon has done a phenomenal job in pushing pace and tempo, his decision-making is still not what you would want from an NBA point guard. And Reed Shepherd hasn't developed, the way in which you wish he would have it by this point. But I'm looking over there in Portland, man, and I'm seeing this guy who there's no chance that Drew Holiday is finishing this year out as a member of the Portland Trailblazers. If there is a way.
And it's crazy. I said that the same thing. I was actually at the gym working with some of my guys. I said the same thing. I was like, man, Drew Holiday would love to get out of Portland and go to Houston. But that's the type of deal they would need to be able to stay in that upper echelon. Because if they don't get any point guard help, it's going to really be tough down the stretch. Because you don't want – one thing about KD – obviously, he's great, but you don't want to add miles on him when you don't have to. You don't want him bringing up the ball. You want him finishing as opposed to initiating. And you definitely don't want him trying to do both, because that's really putting more miles on him. But if they could get a point guard, I think that actually, supplants them, at somewhere near the top of the West. And like you said, Denver's going to be good. They still have some kinks that they got to work out with. Oklahoma City right now looks like they haven't missed a beat from winning the championship. The Spurs, you have to watch them. But, I like the Rockets' chances. I think they're tough. I think they kind of take on the personality of their coach a little bit. And you see that happening a little bit. They're getting a little nastier and a little tougher. And I think that's going to help.
I do want to get your thoughts before you go on the Ja Morant Memphis situation. We know that he just got suspended. They asked him this week, do you even have joy in playing anymore? And he's like, no.
But my reaction to that is, and before I say this, I am a Ja Morant fan. Like I've liked Ja since, Murray State. One of my good friends, Rashard Phillips, he reached out to me and was like, man, you got to watch this kid at Murray State. And, I've kind of been a fan ever since. But at the same time, I think the over-dramatization of situations is crazy with these players now. Like, if you getting into it with your coach and having a bad game, if that's what it takes to take your joy away from the game, then you shouldn't be playing. Like, generally, we having a conversation, you're saying, oh, I don't have the joy. Why? Oh, me and my coach got into it. Like, and see, this is the thing is when you come from certain places, like, I kind of go back to the guys that I was talking about from Detroit. When you come from certain places and you live a certain way, that type of adversity is not adversity. My coach getting on me and cussing me out and me having a bad game and the team winning a couple of games that's not adversity. I may be pissed like, man, this ain't going right. But that's not taking the joy from me playing. I went through too much that could have took the joy away from me playing that I've withstood. And there's no way I'm going to get up here making $30 million saying that I've lost the joy just because things didn't go my way for a week. I mean, what's their record? They're like what, 4-4 now, 4-3.
Have they won 4?
Something.
I think
Have
they
they won 4? Are
sub
they
500.
3-4?
I think they sub 500. Yeah, I think they sub.
But it's
500.
something like that. It's so if they've already played 7 games left, they have 75 remaining.
Yeah.
If they've already played 7, so your joy is lost because this initial week didn't go as planned. So my thing is, young fella, man up. You too good for that. You a
Man.
G. He's always been a G, but
This
in doing
is-
that, you got to be the alpha all the time when it's good and bad. You can't want to jump ship when stuff ain't going your way.
You stirring up something inside of me, man, because we all know that basketball is no longer the sport of the low income bracket, right? Like it now is an upper middle class sport. Yeah, so like
I'm in
I coach at a
EYBL
private
17U. I see it,
bro. I coach at a private school out here in LA, and and it's different, right? Like there is the dog mentality is not what it once was, and it's because this has become an upper middle class wealthy sport in many regards. And so a lot of that mental toughness that used to be on display and somebody fully understanding everything that is like really important versus like this game is separate now. The worlds are so different, man. And it's created a different kind of culture in the sport. Basketball is the new tennis in many regards.
No, that's a fact. I think if you look at, for instance, I keep reverting back to talking about Detroit. If you look at Detroit, it's the one thing that's a catastrophe in Detroit is the amount of Detroit public schools that they're closing. And your neighborhood school doesn't exist anymore. The school that your grandfather went to, that your uncle went to, that your mom and dad went to, and now you're walking to that same school. That doesn't exist anymore. That sense of pride in your neighborhood doesn't. And what happens is you have a lot of private schools that are well funded, just offering the best kids out of the city scholarships. And we have to look at it both ways. And I think it's a little societal with how you look at it. It's okay, we have this great opportunity to get a great education paid for. And it's also going to be off the work of most of these young inner city kids. And don't get me wrong, I think you should be able to get perks for your talent every step of the way. But seeing so many kids in the city, like for instance, Darius Acuff is he's family. I grew up, his dad was my point guard in high school. To see him, win state championships as a freshman and sophomore and then leave and go to the big prep schools out of state, that's a tremendous loss for the kids that are coming up behind him in the city. It's not so much for him. Cheek's going to be good wherever he go. But it's a loss because that kid behind him is not going to get the feeling that I got of watching Jalen Rose in the Southwestern high school game sitting in Southwestern high school. See, and I believe that's what kind of hurts the city. And like you said, it's a different mentality. It's not a us against the world mentality where we all trying to get out and we all have a common goal and we all are like-minded. It's different now. You need money to go to these private schools. You need money to play for these travel teams. You need money to keep up with the Joneses and trainers. Like, I've never had a trainer. Like, I didn't get a trainer until I was in the NBA. Like, when I was coming up, it was, I just hooped from sun up to sundown. I ran on my own. I always had a ball in my hand. And, I just tried to get better. Because one thing my family wasn't doing, nobody was paying to have somebody play basketball with me. No,
not at all, man.
No, we're not paying you to have a one-on-one coach. That wasn't even in the conversation. But I think, like you said, it is a upper class kind of game now. And
you see it. There's a lot of white boys in the league now. I mean, not to just inject that, but it's right. I'm seeing an explosion of for real Samaria. Like, it's noticeable. Like, you could just see certain things every night. You're like, oh, okay, like, white brother could hoop. But it's like, we got white cats starting in the NBA. Like, we got some teams rolling out starting lineups. 2 and 3 white boys out there.
If you look at how many European players are coming over, name the 5 best players in the league.
Oh, all of them are foreign. All of them.
Yeah, they're all, yeah.
Right. The last few MVPs.
Yeah.
Last 5 MVPs have been foreign.
We need to just
And
claim
I think
Number
Canada.
one
they have
overall
a
draft
concept.
picks.
They have a concept of development over there. We don't. We have
Yeah.
a concept of, like you said, America. I mean, if maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like we're in an instant gratification society. We get everything by the push of a button. Get everything delivered by the push of a button. And our players, they behave like that. They're ready to go to the league now. They want to be called pros now. They social media pages and I've played in Europe and I've seen young players in Europe. The humility they have is crazy because they're taught that the elders and the people with seniority, these are the guys that you need to look up to. And these are the guys that come first. In our league, it seems like the youngest are starting to have the loudest voices.
Oh, Mo, you going someplace. We can't do this, man. Cause you taking us down the path. We running long. I know where you're going, bro. I say it all the time. The old heads are no longer mentoring the young bulls. The young bulls are imparting their wisdom on the old heads, and it's a crazy thing to see.
It's like the old heads are trying to fit in with these young boys. They listening to their music. They
wild.
Emulating them on social media. Whereas when I was a rookie, I shut my mouth until Rodney Rogers told me I can talk.
Man, God bless Rodney Rogers.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna wrap this up. Before we get out of here, though, there's been a huge gambling scandal going on in the NBA right now. Just some quick thoughts about the culture of gambling in the NBA, and obviously legalized gambling now being so instrumental in the marketing and promotion of all sports. Does that create a bit of an obvious opportunity for somebody to try to milk the system and do things that are below board?
I mean, I think it does because I honestly think that legalized gambling and professional sports are starting to, how can I say it? The line is blurred, and I think that it's starting to transcend each other. And that's when it's bad. Like there is no clear boundary between gambling, social media, and the athlete. The people that are gambling on the players over and under can actually talk to the player on social media. They can actually comment on, hey, you messed up my under. Oh, you trash because you did this. So now the player, if he has any kind of competitiveness in him, is going back at this guy over a bet. So right there, you have the lines are blurred. Right then and there, you have an NBA player on social media in the public arguing with someone who bet on him. So if that can happen, how hard is it for somebody saying like, hey, I got an over. What you think about this?
Yeah.
There's no boundary. And that's the crazy part about it. When I was coming up, I could not imagine someone having so much easy accessibility to me, to contact me, to be able to get a message to me in real time, right then and there in front of everybody. Like that's kind of what we're dealing with here. And now you start putting in the people, organized crime figures and this, that, and the other. But at the same time, you putting the people faces on the camera while you're talking about organized crime. Like, why not put the career criminals on the camera and show them doing the perp walk?
Can we get Sammy the Bull? Can we get the Sammy the Bull photo or something? Why we gotta have Chauncey Billups? I said that was the first thing I said.
Because again, instant gratification, clicks and views.
Yeah.
Clicks and views. Chauncey walking out in a hoodie is going to get more views than a major mob boss walking out. So although, what's wrong is wrong and everybody is innocent until proven guilty, it's not for me to pile on anybody or to tell them what they did or didn't do. But at the same time, the narratives are always just that. They're narratives.
Yeah.
And you just have to sometimes consider the source. And in this day and age we live now, you got to consider the source, verify the source, confirm the source, and maybe even think about after that if you want to repeat what this source said. So I mean, I get it, but I think the setup, it was set up to fail. Like you just can't have gambling and professional sports that close together.
Got you. Hey, listen, man, we appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are so well over our time. I know Joe was like, can y'all shut up?
Appreciate it.
But thank you, bro. This
No.
is an amazing conversation.